Well, thanks very much, Mark. We are live on YouTube and on TikTok. Uh, Welcome to the show, everybody. Yes, we're live on both. That's how it works now. Yeah, we got it the big time now. But, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Wow, what a day yesterday. Yesterday's games. I picked one. Although I wasn't sure, but I picked the Niners. I did pick them. I thought that the Cowboys could do it. I thought that they would put it on. I thought they would put it on them. Pollard going down obviously hurts more than just Pollard. It hurts the whole team. That being said, yeah, the Niners and Mr. Irrelevant strike again. Jeez. Yeah, he did. Right. Well, I think that he lost $2 million, and however that makes you sleep. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you make. Losing $2 million definitely hurts. I again, but then the other game, the Bills going down, is a shock to me. I don't get this Bengals team. I really don't get it. I don't. They're like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of idea. That you don't know what you're going to get any given Sunday, and it's really weird. They win. Right. Yeah, good job. Man, it's going to come down to Mahomes because Mahomes' injury obviously so much depends on him. And does it okay, is it just an ankle sprain? You know, the x-rays are negative. I haven't heard anything about the MRI yet. I just got a report actually. Hold on one second here. No, sorry, it's not. It's not about him. It's about Brady. Okay, sorry, but yeah, yeah. He's sick of the questions. He says, "If I knew what I was gonna do, I would have already effing done it." Was his last answer. But anyway, okay, right. Well, I think Aaron goes to Raiders. I think that you don't. I thought Niners were the biggest thing on Brady, but I think you run Purdy now and wait and see if him and Lance can do something again. Uh, but in terms of the Super Bowl, oh man, could you have a repeat? I mean, the possibility of a repeat is very high. I think it's higher than 50%. Like I do think that there's a possibility that it goes there. But the Eagles, again, everyone's like, well, the Eagles, they're the Eagles. They're going to choke. But they don't choke in this. Like, they won with friggin' Nick Foles. You're not buying the Eagles? You think they're done? Whew, man, like, they got to run it up against them, against the I just don't know at this point. I don't see. Yeah, no. Yeah, KC. Yeah, sure. But man, this is a tough one to pick. Like, I think you got to go each game right now because the rest doesn't really matter yet. Like, man, I don't. It is so hard to pick these ones this time around, which is awesome because that is exactly what we need. We don't need the games anymore where we know it's going to be 42-3. Like, we need this kind of parity in the NFL, and it's finally starting to happen. And now we can look and watch and not know what's going to happen. It makes it actually more interesting because yeah, we sure do. But yeah, like Bengals, Chiefs, Niners, Eagles. Man, oh man. Do the Niners keep going? Does Mr. Irrelevant keep going? Like, it yeah, it's stupid. Sure. Right. Yeah, and you also like the Cowboys and their fans and the pressure that they just put on themselves was unparalleled because please.
I don't kick a normal human being ever when they're down, but
Right.
I give it a grace period. I usually give it about a 48 hours, but when it comes to the Cowboys fans, you get it immediately. Like the
Yes.
second the game said 0-0-0, I push send to
Yeah.
all of them.
They all deserved it because for
One,
how
one
long
shot.
do we have to put up every season with the Cowboys fans? Like, I, it's ridiculous. It's
What
worse
about Jerry
than any
Jones?
other
What
sport.
about Jerry Jones? This guy, Jerry Jones, is to me the most despicable owner in the entire league. And Cowboy fans will tell you he's the salt of the earth. You know what I mean? They will. They'll say that about him.
Sure.
This, the same guy that was kneeling, standing. He didn't know which way he was going. Listen, it couldn't have happened to a nicer organization. Once again, it's been how many years now? 27 years since they've won a Super Bowl. And it's going to continue on because the competition isn't getting any easier. That's for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
man, oh man, I'm to be a Cowboys fan today would
Oh,
suck.
could you imagine?
I mean, so many people were messaging me today, like in shambles because
but
of it.
there's a certain type of individual. You know that, Jesse? Like the people that are Cowboy fans, they have a certain kind of way about them. Like if you go check who they are, there's just an underlining kind of flaw with all of them. You know what I mean? There's like an underlining flaw that runs through their DNA. Every Cowboy fan in the world that I've ever met, ever.
Is it
It's
a birth
true, man.
defect? Are you saying that they all have a birth defect?
Listen, it hasn't been proven scientifically, but it could be a birth defect, and it's not. You
Oh,
can't
boy.
die from you can't die from it, but
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's got to be painful.
Well, it's painful for sure. It's painful for sure. It's painful for sure.
Hey, everybody, we'll be right back on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavelich and Jesse Martineau. Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavelich and Jesse Martineau. Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavelich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. I am Mark Pavelich, and across the way in the Grove, the star of the show, the big, sexy Jesse Martineau.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Good to see you. We have a great guest tonight. He's not here yet, but he's coming. None other than Kimbo Slice Jr. It's going to be interesting talk tonight, so stay tuned for that.
The offspring,
yes,
of arguably one of the most polarizing fighters to ever live.
Right.
Kimbo Slice.
Why so polarizing?
He was so polarizing because he walked into your backyard and he blasted your brains out, right? So this was a thing. His father was so different. He was something special. Like, he literally fought for money in people's backyards against anybody. And to say he was an internet sensation would be an understatement. He defined what viral videos meant. Some of the people that he messed up, boy, I'm telling you, like, I don't want to exaggerate. I've watched every video of his father fight probably a few hundred times, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, his father was, and then it was funny because I was one of the first people to say he should fight in MMA, and Dana White and everybody else laughed and said, what am I talking about? And sure as shit, he fought MMA. So
that's right.
What do I know? What do I know?
The Montreal Canadiens, by the way, we're going to switch to hockey for a second. Montreal Canadiens in that sweepstake. You know who else is in the sweepstakes for the Connor Bedard? For Beardsy. Beardsy. Vancouver Canucks are now in the sweepstakes.
Yes.
Well, hey.
What they did to come on, can we mention that? What they did to Boudreaux is despicable.
I think so too.
Absolutely despicable on all levels. I cannot fathom how they treated him so poorly.
Well, it's bad that they went the process they went. If you're just going to get rid of someone, just get rid of them. But the way they drew it out, and like, it was like the GM was scared to do anything. Like, I don't understand what was going on over there, unless he had some people up in the upper office that were big fans still that didn't want to get rid of him. I don't know.
It was horrific.
But it was horrific levels. Because remember when Bruce came in and how he won like 8 in a row or something crazy, and they were like chanting his name every game, and how quickly it's like, well, what have you done for me lately? But that being said, the Canucks do have to do something. If they're going to lose, they're going to have to lose, and they're just going to have to do it pretty hard to get that.
But the way they treated him was so despicable on all levels. It literally was horrendous, and it's weird. It's and he's going to end up in broadcasting. I think so.
Really, Bruce?
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's kind of weird on camera.
Well, he's got a face for radio. He's got a face for radio.
I can see Tortorella doing, like, I think Tortorella did do some stuff, but I don't know about Bruce. Maybe. I think Bruce, he's got one skill set, and that's being a hockey coach. And like, I can't imagine that guy's pleasant at home. But
no.
But and it may be not in the dressing room. And maybe that's part of the problem. But that being said, how you handle these kind of things today, that was weird. Like, that was straight up weird. I don't get why you have to delay so long. And
especially in professional sports now. Like,
what are you scared of?
Why are we wearing white gloves in professional sports? You're losing, whatever the case may be. You might not have the dressing room. The fans love them in Vancouver on purpose because the management stunk up the place. Listen, I can say this out loud as many times as I want. I probably said it on the show a million times. Vancouver is a horseshit city when it comes to sports. It is literally at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to sports on every level. You want to go see mountains, you want to go hiking, you want to see the ocean, fantastic. Vancouver is a great place to live. My beautiful daughter lives there, great. For sports, it's dog shit, okay? It is trash. It is terrible on all levels. They
just haven't been able to sustain a sport other than hockey.
Jesse, they screwed up basketball.
They really did.
How can you screw up basketball with the melting pot of people that live in Vancouver? You screwed up basketball.
Like, the one thing is at the time, like, time it wasn't big. NBA, they were trying to do something, which I agree that you have to try.
If me and you were running the Grizzlies,
yes,
would they still be there?
But
yes, they would.
The only thing is that that was then, like, that was 20 plus years ago. Like, there wasn't social media. There wasn't the avenue to get it to the Canadian fans yet. You had Toronto in that. It's a shame, but that being said,
to Edmonton. If you brought it to Edmonton tomorrow,
yes, I think that you could do it like that now. But not then. I think Montreal could do a team right now. I really do.
Me too.
I think that Toronto, Montreal, I do think Vancouver could have a team now. The problem is,
I don't get what the problem would be geographically either to pull that off, because
Seattle's vying very big for another team, and so if the NBA is going to hand one out, it's going to be Seattle first. I promise you
see
that.
What I'm saying? If NBA wants to take this. If NBA wants to take a page from the NHL, which they should actually try
but they don't want to. I don't think, because they don't care about Canada. I don't think they care.
International. It makes it more international.
I guess, but is Canada the market then, or is the UK? To me, the UK and Germany is. I know, but they want to start another league. So
what do? You
can't
play that
do
league
it here.
over there. You play that league over here. Then
you face them off, or you have tournaments mid-season, which I've already talked about doing tournaments, right? Like, they're talking about doing in-season tournaments,
Jesse, listen, you already have the Toronto Raptors.
I understand that, and yes,
they're already there. They're already there.
Yeah,
they're already there. So
but they don't care enough, I don't think, to put it in another Canadian market. I think they were. I think it's like baseball. They were so pissed when the Jays won. They were pissed when the Raptors won.
Yeah, correct.
And they're like, "Oh, it'll never happen. It'll never happen." I mean, it took 30 years, but it happened. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it doesn't help their bottom line. Canada does not help their bottom line in sports.
No, because when they're in the final, they find out that no Americans watch because they're all mad.
Well, they hated the Warriors, and they're not going to watch Toronto. So
correct.
But maybe people watch just to see someone beat the Warriors. Maybe that was part of it too. But I think that if you're the NBA sitting there, you're in a great position because your brand is super strong. Canada only has 30 million people, like, whatever. You don't really need another city here because we already are on the Raptors. We already are. We're bought in. Like, I don't know if we could get a higher buy-in right now.
Well, not now because of what happened with the Raptors. I mean, but what I'm saying though is as well as I do, if they come geographically this way, your flights could be quick. You go from Edmonton, to the States.
Well, that's why I think Montreal or Vancouver does make sense.
You're 3 hours to LA. If Montreal has a team, you're close to New York.
The whole Eastern Division.
It's
close.
crazy. It's crazy.
Like, there's 20 teams right
Why they're not doing it, I'm not sure.
Because I really do believe that they're pushing for the European market. And it's the NFL thing. You got to think, how long have we talked about doing
That's a
a
novelty
Canadian?
act. Jesse, NFL's doing a novelty act.
No, they're trying to do another league. They want
It's not gonna work.
intercontinental play. They
Ain't gonna
want
work.
it.
Nope.
I guarantee you that's what the idea is, to push
They have
the
a team in
season
London,
longer.
England. They have a team in London, England. They do it every year. They go over, they put a game on in London, England. It sells out.
Yeah,
You
with
got- you got all
100,000
these-
people.
Yeah, you got all these English people wearing 47 different jerseys at the game.
But
They're not really sure
here's the
about
thing,
the
though,
game.
Mark, because I think what you
Yeah.
look at, though, is how they respond to their football. And if NFL
They
could
do, yeah.
capture, if the NFL could capture a fraction of that intensity, doesn't it make sense to try and build not only a rivalry between football and American football, but between continents? Because now you have a North Americans going, screw the Europeans. We don't want to show them any. We don't
Sure.
want to be a part of it. And vice versa. The Europeans being the younger brother now saying, hey, we're going to be even crazier than the NFL because we've done this for 100 years. We know how to act at a sporting event. We know how to do this right as fans. We're going to put it on them.
Correct.
And I think the NFL really could capitalize on that. I would love for Canada to get all these teams that we've said.
Yes.
The problem is I don't think they need us yet. I don't think they need us at all, actually, because how much more, and as fans, absolutely. As fans,
Yeah.
we would benefit from having a team locally. That being
I
said,
agree.
in the bigger scope of it, in the NBA, it doesn't matter because they already have Canada. We all like the Raptors. We all agree that we love the Raptors, and we
Of
all
course.
watch the Raptors. So they already have, you know what? The Raptors might have the biggest fan base in the NBA when you think about it that way.
Well, they might now.
Yeah, because
yeah,
of Canada. And so you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, do we need to really pull any of this? Where's somewhere that we could have there's a ton of people that aren't bought in yet that we could have multiple markets in that has the
Correct.
same kind of and France, Spain, England, Germany, Croatia. Jeez, Croatia's
Not big
good
enough. Not big enough. But
they're
but
good
they
at
just-
basketball.
But they're great at basketball. But they just switched over now with the money there too, eh? So they're on the currency of the rest of Europe.
They're on euros.
Euros.
They
Croatia
pro-
just did that. Like
So, well,
a
that
week
that
ago.
kind of helps, to be honest. But
for that, yeah.
yeah, for that.
it does.
But okay, fine. I'm just spitballing those places. But I think that if there's those guys up there, the NFL and the NBA, we need our stuff in Europe. We need, because we see, like, okay, America promotes sports, but Europe arguably does it way better.
Well, you
does
gotta
it
think to
way
yourself,
bigger.
too, you got to think to yourself too. There must be people looking at it like we look at it. Some kid sitting in England right now going, "Who gives a shit about the Pittsburgh Steelers?" Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like he grew up watching, Tottenham and Manchester United and Liverpool, and he's thinking to himself, that's what he cares about in life. The one sport that has kind of crossed over to the complete boundary of it all is boxing and MMA. Those two sports have been that's like a global thing now. That's for sure is like a for sure global thing when it comes
Yes.
to, the heavyweight champ of the world is from England. So you have this now, and people are kind of getting excited because it brings it out globally. Hockey has not done that. NFL hasn't done it either yet.
No, I don't think so
either.
either. I don't think they
No.
have.
No.
It is true. I
Not
do
really.
think that there is an opportunity to capitalize on Canada still. I really do think so. But I don't think it's worth losing Europe over. If you had to pick, and I think this is what they're thinking, I put more investment into Europe because it's you have, let's say, 300 million people, another America.
Yeah, that's right.
To pull from versus our little pond of
Yeah.
40 million people, 10 million of which maybe watch sports. Like, really,
That's
when you
right.
think about it. And basketball, how many? I don't know. So why not try? Like I do, and I think that's what
When I moved here too, though, when I moved here, we're in the, as people want to know, we're like in the middle of Canada, like where we live. And what people don't understand is, like, when I moved here, people didn't follow American college sports. And where I grew up in Windsor, Detroit area, we always followed like the Rose Bowl, Michigan Wolverines, Ohio State, like we were always watching
right.
like college stuff. When we
Yeah.
when we came out and you NCAA, we would die by it, right?
Right.
But then you move out here and people don't care about it at all.
No.
I mean, not even a little bit. Do you know, like, Super Bowl parties? We've had Super Bowl parties. Me and you, we've been to them, right? Our own ones.
Yeah.
And it was fun. There was like 40, 50 people at them. But
I know. I can't do it. Like I have to invite people specifically that like football. And to me, it ruins the sanctity of the Super Bowl.
I totally
because
agree.
Again, and I get it. Like, it is a big event and people want to watch it, and that's fine. Just don't come to my house to do it. But but you know what I mean? Like, how do you then take that and the passion that the people have that watch everything as well as the Super Bowl, and then get those same fans? And you would ask yourself, where are those other fans? Where are they? Well, they are in Europe for most of it, because they've been doing it for so long. They know how to act. They know the sports that they have, and they bought in so well. Yeah. What? I mean, you have to think the NFL looks at the World Cup that just happened and is like 2-year-old jealous hissy fit
has to be
that happened, and so many people watched it. They have to be upset about it.
I thought the last World Cup between me and you was one of the best.
It was
in history,
guaranteed.
In history.
And that, I mean, the Kadar thing, like, that was horseshit. Like, that was all bullshit. That all that up stuff. But you can't argue that they put on one of the best shows that's ever been put on.
I'm telling you, I'm not talking about what country it was in. I'm not talking about nothing. I'm just telling you the way it was run. And I heard, by all accounts, there was zero violence outside of the arena, outside of the stadium. It was like the streets were super clean.
Right.
Everything they said that there was no one getting mugged, like it was very like tame, but the event itself looked absolutely pristine. The whole event.
Well, he built 7 brand new stadiums. I mean, it's pretty dope. Like, it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
you know what? The only thing I think compared to it, and people shit on Vancouver for so much, and we do too, but the 2010 Olympics there was incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
It was the first HD Olympics. Of course, winter. We did it right. We invested in our athletes to win the Olympics, to win hockey, because it was here. Yeah, no, I agree. But that is the point. That's my point of the whole football NBA
it's
thing.
It's a shame Canada doesn't think more like that 365 days a year.
Yeah, we definitely have gone down to that. We were better since then, but we definitely have not done what it did in 2010. I remember Canadians in 2010 saying, "Oh, we're too American now. Why are we talking so much about ourselves?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Come on now. Like, it's either one or the other in Canada. It's always that. It's never like."
Here's the news flash. If they would literally, we're basically a third world country when it comes to Olympic athletes. And most Olympic athletes would agree with me 1,000,000%. I go to the Gold Plate dinner every year with my dear friend Ken Franchuk,
right?
And we go to the Gold Plate dinner, and we usually have like an Olympic athlete sitting at our table, and I go into great conversation with these Olympic athletes, telling me about their funding and things like that. Canada is dog shit, literally like horse shit on the grand scheme of things when it comes to the athletes, Canadian athletes. If you check how they're not taken care of on the grand scheme of things. Go look it up, everybody.
Well, yeah, I think
go look it up. Go look up how Australia does it. Go look up about how a lot of different countries do it. We're not leading anything in that department. I promise you that.
It's sad because when because it proved in Vancouver that it's possible to actually be a powerhouse in at least the Winter Olympics.
Yeah,
but. Should we only do that when it's only in Canada?
Jesse, no, but look at Jesse. Look at the joy it brings everybody. And listen, think about this for 1 second. Why just Winter Olympics? What makes us different? Someone running 100 meters. Hey, don't you remember? We have some guys in Canada, you know, Bruni Surins and all these other guys that look at how they ran. I'm not going to bring up the bad name. I won't bring his name up. But what I'm saying is we have Canadian runners that just smoke, like absolute smoke. So it doesn't matter anymore like what country you're from when it comes to amateur athletics. It literally means the training that you can get, that you don't have to work 4 jobs to help your Olympic career. That's the difference. In America, their funding is tenfold what ours is.
Oh, very much so. Like it's astronomically different. And you can actually be an Olympic athlete and make a living. And that again, it is one of those things. And so, you know, you get into a more philosophical debate with this because then people argue, well, okay, you know, we should be putting money towards things that matter right now. We shouldn't be putting it towards sport.
That's what everybody says.
That's what everyone says, right? But you know, when
it's
it
weird
push
how
comes to shove,
everybody else can figure it out. Every other country can figure it out. Australia can figure it out. United States can figure it out. But us Canadians can't figure out how to fund Olympic athletes.
Right. And that's the problem. I mean, obviously Bell does stuff, but here's the thing in Canada that we always get so messed up about. It's because like Bell and TSN and like there's certain like networks don't want to put opposing sponsors on their platforms because these big brands own these media providers. And so they're like, oh no, if you're not Bell or whatever, you're not going to be on our team. Like you're not going to get as much money. So, you know,
you ever hear that expression? You ever hear that expression in life, Jesse? Cut your nose off, spite your face.
To spite your face,
like, yeah, that's what this is in Canada.
Yeah.
It's like everybody wants to argue about the peanuts, but you know, when we have these great track athletes that we can still marvel over, and great swimmers and great hockey players and great women male hockey players and great bobsledders, and we all revel about it and we can't stop watching it, but you don't want to fund them?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Wake up, everybody.
I don't get that either. I it doesn't make sense to me. I think that there's got to be something fundamentally that shifts in that. But, you know, you're talking about amateur sport versus pro sport, and maybe that's the thing, is that the pro sport scene, maybe that's the difference, is that it just doesn't put the money in the seats, and it doesn't put the bottom line on, which is what pro sports are. They have to be profitable. There's no other way around it. They're not going to happen if they're not profitable. So you have to make sure that happens. And
look, even right now, guys like Andre DeGrasse, he is like by far the fastest runner in Canada right now, like by a million miles. You know what's funny? If he walked in the West Edmonton Mall right now, I bet you maybe a half dozen people, if he's lucky, would stop him. That's not right. That's not right. You remember Andre DeGrasse when he was running against, and he looked over when Andre DeGrasse,
Usain Bolt,
when he was against Bolt, and they were at the finish, and he looked over at him like, okay, I'm right next to you, man. I'm right next to you. And literally, Canadians went ballistic.
Yeah.
They loved it. Why can't we understand that moving forward to fund Olympic athletes? You know what? This wasn't even a topic today, but this is a topic that really means a lot to me because I've been to this dinner every year, basically for the last 6-7 years. And I see these Olympic athletes, and literally, how can I explain it to you? They are basically there with hand in hat.
Yes. You know, they're begging for, let me please play.
And they shouldn't be.
No, I agree. Now, here's what needs to happen. There needs to be the governing body of the athletes has to lighten up and let any sponsor come from anywhere. I don't care what you think. I don't care who it is. If the athlete and the sponsor jive morally, all that stuff, fine. Let them do what they want. But the athletes themselves have some onus too, because they need to be pumping themselves on social media now. We talk about this all the time, that they need to be actually more than athletes now, and especially ones that need to play for their food essentially because
Jesse, but you know what the difference is? Remember Donovan Bailey? How
of course.
awesome the runner, how awesome he was.
Yeah.
And even him. You remember when he raced in the was it the Sky Dome? Sky Dome.
Yes, against Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
And he beat him.
Yeah.
And then he was passing him, and Michael Johnson
pulled
up on a
Said
hammy.
He hurt himself. Yeah.
On a hammy.
Yeah.
He pulled up on a hammy.
Blew a hammy.
Blew a hammy. And it was funny when Donovan Bailey turned around and started pumping his chest. 9/10 of Canadians finally said, "It's about time."
Yeah.
The other part was like, "Oh, I can't believe he pounded his chest.
Yeah.
I can't believe he did that. Why did he do that for?"
Well, he also said at the very end, remember, he's like, "Yeah, I'll race him again and kick his ass another time." Like,
yeah, exactly.
Again, like I love that, and I think that
Me
needs
too,
to
me
happen.
too.
But again, like here's the problem in Canada is that you're right. Like people say that kind of stuff, and then they get flamed for it. So these guys need to find sponsors that actually support them in a way that
Let them
allow
be
them to
artists.
be themselves.
They're artists. These guys
Yes,
are artists.
exactly.
Let them be artists. Let them
Yes.
be artists. Let them
Another
be who they
big
are.
issue is
Yeah.
a lot of companies are owned in America. So
That's true.
So what, do you get your Canadian
Problem.
division to sponsor? Like, I mean, that's something you have to think
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so there's that. That being said, there's a lot of companies out there that could easily fund an athlete for whatever it is, like $100 grand a year.
When we saw
that
when we
they
saw
need.
Donovan Bailey, listen, when Donovan Bailey did that, I was so proud.
Oh, it was awesome.
And he flexed on him. And I was so proud that he did that. It's like, yeah, you want me to bow down forever? I can't bow down forever.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's it's funny. I was at the movie theater the other day. We physically left our home and we went to the movie theater, and literally I'm ready to get out of my car. And these people are walking towards my car, and their car's right next to me. So I sit inside my car and I wait. And they wait.
Right.
I wait, they wait. And then I rolled down the window and I said, "Is this your car?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "I'm waiting for you to get in." And they're going, "We're waiting for you to get out." You get what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the Canadian. And you
Yeah.
know what she said? We both looked at each other and we're basically like, "Isn't it great to be Canadian?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes, it is." In that, yes, I don't want to lose that, Jesse.
No.
I don't want to lose that as a Canadian. I don't want to lose that respect.
That's a good
Listen,
point.
Here's a news flash for everybody in the world today, okay? You want me to go? I'm going to go. I don't care if you're Canadian or you come from another country. I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care about none of that stuff. Do you know what funny? In our country, when you let someone in to go, you wave,
Yep.
okay?
You're
We
supposed
don't
to.
act. Listen, if someone shoots you the finger, they're an idiot, okay?
Yes.
That's not how it goes here. If I cut you off and you get mad at me, you know what I do? I go like this. "Sorry, I must have been daydreaming. I'm sorry about that." That's how Canadians do things.
That's funny.
I was at the movie theater yesterday, was waiting 5 minutes
Yeah.
before I finally rolled down the window and I said, "Miss, I'm letting you go." And she goes, "I'm letting you go." And then we were actually going back and forth. I said,
Well,
"I can't do that."
again, that you're right. Like that is awesome that it's Canadian, but it also becomes
keep
an
that.
inherent
Let's
problem.
Let's keep that though. But when Donovan Bailey says to people, "Hey, you know what's funny? One of the coolest acts in sports history, in my personal opinion, was not even done by a Canadian, but for a Canadian team." Are you going to tell me the bat flip?
Yeah,
didn't
well,
give
no,
you
I
goosebumps?
agree. Like the
bat
Jose
flip didn't give you
Batista
goosebumps?
seventh
Didn't give you-
inning against the Rangers is
Unbelievable.
easily I'll say the second biggest moment in Jay's history.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
okay. Here's the weird thing: second biggest moment in Jay's history,
Yeah.
maybe the third biggest moment in MLB history, and
I totally agree.
and I would actually say on the MLB scale, the Batista bat flip is higher than Joe Carter's game-winning home run to win the World Series.
I totally agree.
In Jay's history, no, because you win the World Series on Carter's home run. Absolutely.
Correct.
But in the
Correct.
big picture of the Major League
Yeah.
Baseball, the bat flip in that whole seventh inning that lasted,
Yeah.
whatever, an hour and 20 minutes, which was a debacle from start to finish. You couldn't script a Charlie Sheen, what the hell is it called? Angels in the Outfield
Yeah,
movie
yeah, yeah.
any better.
But Jesse, did you see how Canadians felt about the bat
Yes,
flip?
we were
The
like,
bat flip couldn't have been. Listen, I am a huge supporter of the bat flip. I don't want to exaggerate. I've only watched it 4,000 times. Now, you tell me this. We're Canadian. We're all polite and everything, but we sure did love that bat.
oh, we
flip.
loved it.
We loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it a lot. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell people is, yeah, it's Canadian thing's great, but we have to fund our athletes. We have to support our athletes. And listen, we're not going to lose the other part about when you listen, you come here, you wave to people, we say good morning to people. This is how Canadians are. This is how we live. Listen, if you're new from another country, and I'm glad you're in Canada now. I am. I'm a big supporter of that. My mother was an immigrant that came to Canada, and so just so you get it straight, okay, I come from that family. When you come, we wave to each other. We let people in parking spots.
Yeah.
We hold your door open for elderly people. That's what we do in Canada, everybody. That's it. You can go check for yourself when you come here. When Americans come here, they go, wow, you guys are so nice. Yes, but don't lose track when you come against us in a combative way. Hence the bat flip, hence Donovan Bailey. I can name all the episodes in time when they all took place, right? Don't forget, Lennox Lewis, before he defected to England, he was a Canadian and won the gold medal in the Olympics for boxing. And he had that kind of English bravado as he was going out the door. But he also, they all had that kind of swag and bravado. But you need that to be successful in sports most of the time.
I think so too. Like, there is obviously a mind thing. I'm watching by the way, if you haven't seen it yet, the Breakpoint series on Netflix about tennis is as good as Draft or Survive.
You're kidding.
Dude, it is so good.
Wait a second. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, it's called Breakpoint. It's done by the same guys that made the F1 Drive to Survive. And the first episode's Nick Kyrgios, who I love so much. And it's following it's on Netflix. It's amazing, Mark. You'll watch the first episode tonight and you'll watch all of them. I guarantee you'll watch them all tonight.
How many episodes?
I think there's 8.
Wow.
But I can't remember. But there's it is really good. But you look at that and you realize that there's a lot more to sport than being good at the sport. And I think we all know this, but I think this tennis one really shows it because it's it's the highest,
of course.
It's probably the highest stake individual sport. I don't know if there's one that's bigger in terms of like the high stakes of it, because really in tennis, like, yeah, golf may be there, but that top 50 in tennis, like you see those guys so much, but it's like the sport that you have to learn to lose because one person wins every week. And yeah, golf's the same, but it feels like there's a little different. But you actually lose a one-on-one match every week. And out of the 256, combined 128 aside for men and women, 255 people are going to lose. One person wins. And so you have to deal with that mindset, the battle going on. And it's funny because you watch tennis sometimes and you're like, why is that guy like putting a towel on his head? What a baby. But as they're talking and they did it really well. They interview them as the stuff's going on, and it's like they explain what's going on inside of them, and you're like, these people are on the verge of a complete nervous breakdown on center court in front of millions of people almost weekly. And you have to fight that constantly. It's crazy to think about.
Yes.
But you have to understand that there's a different side that these people have to do. So a lot of them, back to our sponsorship thing, they don't want to have to deal with that stuff. An athlete doesn't want to, because they have so many other things to deal with. Not only do you have to be amazing and practice all the time and then play and then travel and do press interviews and all that stuff, and then deal with everything in your brain, but now you have to focus on getting sponsorships to let you play and put yourself through the torture.
But you know what the difference in tennis is, why they have to come out with Breakpoint? Because they have to come out with this show because Federer gone.
Yes, it's the changing of the guard. That is the premise of the show, Mark. That is actually it. You nailed it.
I've never even watched
No,
the
yeah,
show,
but that was exactly the point.
I watch tennis, and I know right now Federer's gone.
Yep, Federer's gone. Nadal
You know,
now's in
Nadal
the
is
beginning of this
shaky.
one, and he
Yep.
he won the Australian Open last season.
But don't forget, he just got knocked out of the Australian Open in the
This
second
year,
round.
yeah,
Nadal,
yeah.
this year.
So
this is
last year he won it. So and it was his first time
Uh-huh.
back after 5 months. But the whole premise of the show, Mark, Breakpoint on Netflix, you have to watch it. Is that thing you're talking about? The changing of the guard. Serena's gone, Federer's gone, Nadal's on his way out. Djokovic is still there, but you can tell it's his body's starting to break down a bit. Who's going to be the next guys and girls that are going to take this sport there?
Yeah, Djokovic could, if his body will abstain.
Yes.
He might break Federer's record. He might break a lot of records, but just like Tiger Woods.
Yep.
Listen, the greatest golfer of all time is Jack Nicklaus. People go, no, it's Tiger Woods. Guess what? You probably would have been right. Minus the
I think it's
what I'm
it's
saying
different. It's a different thing. I do
Yes,
think,
because-
like, Jack, like, in terms of like the game and how he looked at the game and how he
how he
changed
conducted
it.
himself. how
But
he
Tiger a
conducted himself.
different way, not necessarily with the game, but outside of the game.
That's right.
Because Tiger, and again, like, outside of the game was part of the problem, but outside of the game, like, the sponsorships, the video games, the huge endorsement deals, it was unseen before, unheard of before, and that he changed all that.
Well,
And
but did you see even on the PGA Tour now, though? Did you see that now what Live Golf has done for the PGA Tour, which people should be thanking Live Golf for, because now the prize money at the PGA has gone up.
yes,
Why has it gone up?
It had
Because
to.
It had to because Live Golf came up. There was no one messing with the PGA Tour, and all of a sudden, what happens? Boom! All of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, this extra money now on the PGA Tour. This is fantastic." Yeah, of course it's fantastic. You guys should send a Christmas card immediately to Live Golf because they helped you get that way.
yeah, absolutely they did. It's actually hilarious that it took that to shake it loose. But again, that's the point. That's the point of all this stuff, is that you need something else, another catalyst sometimes, to fix your sport. The problem is, and I still don't think, and I think the PGA has now finally accepted the fact that they have to be different, but I still don't know if they're different enough yet to entice
Correct.
that next guy that they
Correct,
need
correct.
to come in there. But it is. You see PGA on TikTok more so now. You see them sponsoring different
Oh,
things.
it's so funny.
You see them
We're
trying to be funny, trying to
We're
make
cracking
funny
off about
videos.
that. We were cracking off about that them being on TikTok and stuff. Literally about 2 weeks later, they were on TikTok,
Yeah.
and I started laughing. I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like these guys didn't have an original idea that smashed them in the head. Like,
And it
I
still
think
is
they
that way. Like, they haven't had an original idea. They're just mimicking everything else. Actually, it's funny because the Live Golf guys, the funny guys that go around and like make fun of everyone at Live Golf, and they actually hire them to go around and they actually have
which is hilarious.
it's called the back off challenge, where they roast you while you're at the tee, and to
Until
see
you
if you
laugh.
have to take a
Yeah.
step back if you laugh.
Yeah.
So now they actually started doing it with pickleball. Those same guys went
Wow.
around to the pickleball world or U.S. Open and started chirping people playing pickleball, and so it's kind of funny how that works.
That's definitely a sport that I have to take up this year. Like that's one of my.
Hey
I don't
man, you
make
see
res-
Jamie Foxx playing the other day?
No, I did it really.
Yes, dude.
Wow.
This is like, I'm telling you what, guys, if
Wow.
pickleball's
No,
coming back around, like it.
I'm a racket guy.
I know
I've
you
always
would
been a racket-
honestly, Mark. I
and I'm
know
tell-
for a fact you will love
But
it.
is it a doubles thing or is it a singles thing?
It can be a singles thing, but it's more fun with doubles. It's
Okay,
way more fun.
As I get older, I'd like to play doubles, but
Yeah.
the problem is I have to get a partner. I don't know who that could be, so that's my.
Well,
sticking
I
point.
think what most leagues do is that when you join it, you each get a number or whatever on whatever day it is, and they rotate through partners. So
okay.
you play with your skill level, and you just grow that way. And
Yeah.
when you play a tournament, then you would need a partner to bring to a tournament.
Yeah,
But
because I can see I watched a lot online lately, a lot, especially on TikTok.
I know,
there's a lot on there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, this is so my game. Like,
I
can see-
guarantee you that you'll love it. I guarantee. I've told many people, and it's funny that everyone's, oh, it's an old person sport. Well, there's a reason that when you think about it, like how many sports can people over 60 just jump into?
Yeah,
lawn bowling,
lawn bowling.
golf, maybe.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
but this is a sport that is like exponentially active. You could be more and more and more and more and more. But the learning curve is so shallow that you could be playing within an hour an actual game. You can't do that with tennis. You can't do that with golf. You're not going to do it on a course and never swung a club before. You can't do that with baseball.
That's true.
You need
Yeah,
a team. You can't do it with hockey. You're not going to do it with anything like that.
No.
4 people, you put one person that knows what they're doing with them, and I guarantee you within an hour they'd all be playing a game and everyone would be like, oh, I get this.
And
then you
enjoyed
could go. And then you
And
could
enjoyed it.
start them on the journey. And that's what's happened. And so now it's scaling down in age, obviously, as
Are you
sports.
active like you were the first year or second year?
I
Like,
play
are you
twice
still-
a week right now, but it's winter, so it's indoor. So it's a little more
Is that
limited.
kind of weird playing inside?
Yes and no. Like I like inside. There's no wind.
Where do you
which
play inside? Where do you play inside?
I play at a like a hall, like a gym essentially.
Okay.
But yeah, and so you can dive and like slide on the floor a lot easier than you could on like a tennis court, obviously.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So that kind
That's
of
for
thing's
sure.
fun. I do like
That's
that.
for
But
sure.
outside is great too because you're outside and the
Yeah,
balls are different and the speed is a lot higher in that kind of scenario. But it's one of those things that I think everyone should try it at least. But yeah, I guarantee you'll love it. I guarantee.
Yeah,
it.
I see it. I see it for sure. I've watched it online. I catch myself. Listen, since me and Jesse podcast is on TikTok, it's so funny because I never was on TikTok, and now I find myself watching arm wrestling and pickleball.
What do you think of the slap fighting?
What?
What do you think of slap fighting?
You shouldn't have asked.
No, I want to know.
I think it's idiotic. I think Dana White is a fucking moron for doing it. You can quote me on that. I sorry about the profanity, everybody, but that's the only way I can classify it. I've watched so much video of it that I made sure before I made a statement about it that
what to me like
this. Watch this. This is the problem. You're standing still. You're getting slapped in the face, and you know what else is weird? They don't really stand right behind you to hold you when you fall.
They let them fall backwards.
They let him fall backwards. Now, this is the thing I watched the other day. Now, you would say, because I made the statement I just made, people would go, does he know what he's talking about? Yeah, listen, I'm one of the first people to ever get MMA sanctioned in Canada. I went through medical stuff. I went through studies. I went through everything, CTE, concussions, you name it. I've been through it all. Now, the part that bothered me most of all is when the person gets slapped, and they try to stand up on their own and start walking. Very dangerous.
Yeah.
So that's what this slap thing is going to do.
Right.
Listen, you know what's crazy? I'm going to say this on air too. Tim Hague passed away in a boxing match.
Yep.
Here. He was fighting Adam Braywood. You know what's crazy? The day of that match, I text the promoter and I said, you better get an ambulance ready for this fight after this fight. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I can show you the text message.
Yeah.
I text the promoter and I said, you better get the ambulance ready. Unfortunately, Tim Hague passed away that night from this boxing match. Now, whose fault that is? Not for me to say. I have no clue. I'm a bystander. Slap fighting championship. Get the ambulance ready. Someone's going to get killed doing this because maybe the slap's not going to kill them. Listen, Jesse, you know what the part about this? Our dear friend Boss Rutan, who's been on this show, used to fight in Pancrase.
Yeah.
He used to knock people out slapping them. Now, they were able to move their head, and he was still knocking them out because he's hitting them with this part of the hand here, this part, right?
Yeah.
Not this part, this part. So Boss Rutan was knocking people out in Pancrase when you had to hit people with open hands. The difference is they weren't standing still. And now these people are standing still and there's no one catching them behind them. Like you can make this way safer and I still don't like it, but they're not. They're making it as dangerous as possible. Someone is going to get killed doing slap fighting championships. And let me tell you something. What Dana White, the road he's on right now, between what he's done with his own personal life and with the slap fighting championships, listen to me right now. You can't get any lower than what he's been doing lately, and let him continue on doing it. Me personally, I don't care. But I'm letting you know on air, It is ridiculous. I'm not the only one talking like it's ridiculous. There's hundreds and thousands of people saying that are hardcore combative people like me that love MMA, love boxing. This is not good.
Well, you heard it here, everybody. Hey, if you're got a hairy back, have a hairy back no more. Head over to Backscape.com, pick yourself up Backscape Deluxe Kit. Make that back hair go away. Spring is coming, everyone. Time to take your shirt off at the beach. You don't want to see all those winter gains ruined
That's right.
by winter hair.
And don't forget about our sponsors, everybody. Crystal Glass. Crystal Glass, your clear choice for all your glass needs. You can call 310 Glass or go to crystalglass.ca.
Well, we ran out of time, unfortunately, for Kimbo Slice today, Junior. So apologize for that. But
and also too, Robin Black. We might have to get him on the show again.
Yeah, we ran out of time for him too.
Couldn't get him on.
Yeah, but great conversation. It's Super Bowl coming up. We'll know in 1 week's time who's going to be in the next edition of the Super Bowl. I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Wow.
I'm going to say a repeat. We're going to have a repeat Super Bowl.
Okay.
Chiefs Bengals.
Wow.
Let's do it. I want Joe Burrow to win, though.
Me too.
Yeah. That is. All right. Well, until next time, everybody, follow us on all social media. Just search up Me and Jesse Podcast. You'll find us on whatever social media platform you're on.
Everything.
And if you're on TikTok, which you probably are now, head over there. We go live on there on YouTube Monday nights, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Until next time, everybody. That's Mark Pavelich. I'm Jesse Martineau. We'll see you next time on the Me and Jesse Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse Podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse.